One of them was feared by legends, and the other one, well, I don't have much to say about it.
The NBA is straight up exploding right now. What started as whispers has turned into a full-blown war of words, and Michael Jordan just dropped a bomb that shook the entire league. Out of nowhere, MJ hinted that Larry Bird was actually a better player than LeBron James could ever dream of being. Yes, you heard that right. The greatest to ever touch a basketball just said it himself.
Because we have shifted away from physicality and shifted away from all that.
Now the internet's going crazy and fans can't stop debating. So today, we're diving deep into every shocking detail, exactly what Jordan meant, the plays and stats that prove Bird's dominance, and the jaw-dropping points MJ used to back it all up. And trust me, it gets even crazier once you hear the hidden truth he revealed about Bird's injuries, and how LeBron is secretly tied into all of it.
This revelation changes everything, because when the most competitive man in sports admits he feared just one player, you better believe it's not for show. When Michael Jordan said Larry Bird was better, he wasn't talking about flash or social media hype. He was talking about grit, pain, and the kind of sacrifice LeBron has never truly faced.
And Larry Bird was just slicing and dicing them. And I said, oh, I called home. I said, it's true about this boy.
Jordan watched Larry Bird drag his body across the court through pain that would have benched most modern stars without hesitation. He saw a man who never begged for load management or sympathy from the media. Bird just showed up night after night, ready to go to war no matter what shape he was in. That's the kind of toughness you can't fake. Meanwhile, LeBron plays in a whole different universe, an era built to protect its golden boy. He's the face of a league that sells highlight reels and storylines before it sells competition. And that's where the difference cuts deep. Bird didn't care about cameras, sponsors, or viral moments. He only cared about one thing: winning. And if the greatest player of all time admits that difference defines them, then maybe the entire debate ends right there. But wait, before we close that book, you've got to understand why MJ felt that way. Because when you compare the battlefield Bird fought on to the comfort zone LeBron plays in today, it's night and day.
He was the coldest dude I ever seen with that man.
The 80s NBA wasn't a game. It was combat. It was brutal, rough, and downright unforgiving. Every drive to the basket back then came with a price. An elbow buried in your ribs, a forearm smashing into your chest, and no referee rushing to save you. If you tried to get flashy in the paint, someone was going to remind you what real defense looked like: hard, mean, and personal. Nobody in that era even knew what load management meant. If you could walk, you played. Period. And Larry Bird, he thrived on that chaos. He didn't just survive the brutality of the 80s, he dominated it. The man's back was falling apart and he still walked out there the next night dropping 30 like nothing happened. That's not just toughness, that's a dangerous level of obsession. Now jump to LeBron's era. The league today feels more like a luxury showroom than a battlefield. Highlight reels run the league, sponsorships rule the players, and careers stretch on for decades because everything is padded, polished, and protected. There's a reason stars are lasting 20 seasons. The game treats them like fragile trophies. Even Shaq himself once said it best.
Because we have shifted away from physicality and shifted away from all that.
And Shaq wasn't lying, not even a little. The modern NBA has turned into a show, a flashy blend of basketball and entertainment, tailor-made for stars like LeBron James. And don't get it twisted, LeBron is incredible at what he does. He's one of the best in this polished era, no question about it. But let's be real, he's had every advantage imaginable. Elite science, recovery tech, personalized nutrition, cutting-edge training, and rules designed to keep him fresh for another highlight reel. Drop LeBron into Bird's era, where defenders could body slam you at half court just for showing off. That comparison wouldn't even exist. Because back then, it wasn't about speed or muscle. It was about grit, pain tolerance, and who wanted it more. That's the world Larry Bird ruled. He wasn't the most athletic guy in the gym, but he didn't need to be. His mind and his heart did the damage. He'd outthink you, outwork you, and flat out break you. The refs weren't there to save stars either. If anything, fame painted a bullseye on your back. Every game, someone wanted to test if you'd fold under pressure. Meanwhile, LeBron came up in a league that crowns players before they've even earned the throne. And And that's what people keep forgetting. The 80s forged legends. Today's game manufactures superstars.
He let me know from the start of the game what he was gonna do. He really did. He let me know. He for the game, he told me, he was like, he just shook his head at me. He said, man, it's gonna be up nice for you.
So what did he put up?
I think he gave me, I think he gave me 40.
Larry Bird didn't need hype videos, stacked rosters, or media spin. He didn't need the spotlight. All he needed was the ball and the will to destroy you with it. But here's what makes Bird's story downright legendary. He didn't come from some basketball factory or glamorous background. He came from nothing. Just a small Indiana town, surrounded by hard work and grit, not luxury or fame. No fancy training camps, no silver spoon, just sweat, toughness, and an obsession that wouldn't quit. Somehow that same kid from nowhere ended up becoming the heartbeat of the Boston Celtics dynasty. Before the fear, before the trash talk, there was the grind, the part of his life where he clawed his way to the top the hard way, one painful step at a time. And when you actually look at his numbers, it's flat out ridiculous. 3 MVPs, 3 NBA titles, 12 All-Star selections, Rookie of the Year, and 2 Finals MVPs. The man didn't just play, he conquered an era built to break people.
And so I would always ask questions and try to learn as much as I could. Right?
But what really makes Bird's rise insane is how it all started. Because unlike LeBron, nothing about Bird's success was promised. This was a guy from French Lick, Indiana. Population, a few thousand and one gas station. There were no national scouts hyping him up, no ESPN specials calling him the chosen one. Larry Bird was just a construction worker who showed up to every single game like it might be his last. Then came Indiana State. And that's where the legend truly began. This wasn't Duke, Kentucky, or North Carolina. This was Indiana State University, a program nobody outside of their own state expected to even make the tournament, let alone reach the championship game. But Bird dragged that team on his back like a man possessed, leading them all the way to face off against Magic Johnson and Michigan State in the 1979 NCAA Final, the most watched college basketball game in history. That showdown didn't just crown a winner, it redefined basketball.
Larry Bird at his best, LeBron James at his best.
Oh, I gotta go with Larry Joe.
I'm gonna give you Larry Bird in his prime or LeBron in his prime.
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird would probably beat LeBron 1-1.
Really?
The Bird versus Magic rivalry would go on to shape the entire NBA for over a decade, igniting an era that pushed the sport to its peak. And when Bird finally landed in Boston, everything changed overnight. The Celtics were fading, washed, forgotten, coasting on old glory. But the moment Larry Bird touched that hardwood, the franchise resurrected. In his rookie season alone, the Celtics improved by an insane 32 wins. That's not luck. That's impact you can feel. At first, players respected his fundamentals. The clean footwork, the sharp passing, the high IQ. But soon, respect turned to fear. Because Bird didn't just play the game, he spoke it into existence. He'd look you in the eye, tell you exactly how he was about to beat you, then go out and do it. Play for play, like it was already written.
Walk around. You might do a little something. Nah, you ain't got, nah, you shot yourself out in warm-ups. Talking about Leon Wood, he said, nah, you shot yourself out. Who coming in second? Let's take the picture.
People love to talk about LeBron's dominance, but let's be honest. Dominance built in a league that's soft around the edges doesn't hit the same as the kind that was forged in fire. Bird didn't need LeBron's size or freakish athleticism. What he had was timing, vision, and a brain that played 3 moves ahead. You couldn't rush Larry Bird, and you sure couldn't break him mentally. Before you even laced up, he was already living rent-free in your head. He'd dismantle your confidence before the first whistle even blew. And here's the part that still shocks people. Even Michael Jordan himself admitted that Bird was one of the only players who ever scared him. Let that sink in for a second. Jordan, the man built on fear, intensity, and domination, and was shaken by Larry Bird. Bird wasn't chasing clout, stats, or followers. He wasn't playing for highlight reels or brand deals, he was chasing rings, and he earned every single one the hard way. He led the Celtics to 3 championships in an era packed with killers. Magic, Kareem, Dr. J, Isaiah Thomas, every playoff series felt like war. Bird was always right in the middle of it, banged up, bleeding, barking at opponents, and still drilling jumpers from everywhere like nothing touched him. And here's the craziest part. His entire legacy came from just 13 seasons. That's it. 13 years to carve his name into basketball history forever. Meanwhile, LeBron's career has stretched across 2 decades, multiple eras, stacked rosters, and a rule book rewritten to protect offense.
Larry was that type of player that didn't care about fame. He gave his all, even when he was injured, and that's something this other guy never did.
By the mid-'80s, everyone in the league already knew what Jordan later confirmed. You didn't just play Larry Bird, you survived him. His stats? Sure, they're impressive, but numbers only tell half the story. The real story lives in how other NBA legends talk about him. And that's a level of respect LeBron James can't buy, break, or match, no matter how many records he piles up. Because here's the wild part. It's one thing when fans hype you up. That's noise. But when legends start confessing how it felt to face you, when men who built the league start admitting fear when your name comes up, that's something deeper. That's not nostalgia. That's earned respect. The kind that never fades. Take Magic Johnson, for example. Magic and Bird weren't just rivals. They were basketball's Ali and Frazier. Every time they clashed, the entire NBA stopped breathing. It wasn't just a game, it was an event. Magic himself once said Larry Bird was his greatest rival, the only player who could outthink him, outplay him, and outlast him on any given night. Their rivalry didn't just define the 80s, it saved the NBA, 2 titans dragging the league from decline into a global spectacle that captured the world. But between those 2 icons, there was something cold-blooded about Bird. A quiet menace behind those pale blue eyes. Because when the game got brutal, he was the one who wanted it more.
LeBron, fans want to know where you're taking your talents this year. What's your decision?
In this fall, man, this is tough. In this fall, I'm gonna be taking my talents to Hennessy VSOP.
Gary Payton, one of the greatest trash talkers in NBA history, still says Larry Bird was the most dangerous talker the game has ever seen. And when it comes from the glove, that means something. Bird didn't talk for show or drama. He talked because he knew. He'd tell you exactly what he was about to do, how he was going to score, and then he'd walk out there and do it right in your face. No hesitation, no mercy, just execution. Payton even broke it down on the All the Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. He said, "He was the coldest dude I ever seen with that, and that was old man Larry." Think about that! Payton was talking about Bird at 34 years old, with a busted back in his second-to-last season. And even then, he was terrifying people who'd go on to be legends themselves. That kind of respect doesn't come from flashy dunks or highlight reels. It comes from fear. It's earned in blood, sweat, and humiliation. And it wasn't just guards or shooters who felt it either. Even Shawn Kemp, a young, hungry rookie back then, admitted Bird humbled him early on. Kemp said Bird gave him that look, the one that said, "You're not ready for this." Then right after, Bird proved it. Shawn Kemp later admitted that single moment with Bird changed the way he played basketball forever. That's the kind of psychological damage only legends can inflict. The type that forces you to level up or get left behind. And if you thought that was crazy, wait till you hear this. There was a game where Bird was being guarded by a rookie Dennis Rodman, and Larry spent the entire matchup yelling at the Pistons coach. He kept shouting things like, "You better send somebody who can actually guard me." And the funnier part? The closer Rodman tried to stick to him, the louder Bird got about being unguarded all night. Pure humiliation, and Bird made it look effortless. Even Kobe Bryant, one of the most obsessive students of the game to ever live, studied Larry Bird religiously. Kobe respected 3 things above all else: skill, IQ, and mentality. And he said Bird had every one of them. The footwork, the angles, the timing. Bird's entire game was a chess match, and he was always 2 moves ahead. For Kobe to recognize that speaks volumes. And it didn't stop there. Ask Reggie Miller, John Sally, or Gilbert Arenas. When they were asked to pick between Bird and LeBron, every single one of them chose Bird. Different eras, same story. Players didn't just admire Bird, they feared him. Now look at LeBron. Great player, no question. A freak of nature built to dominate. But here's the truth. You never hear legends speak about him with that same reverence. Not even close. Because while Bird let his presence do the talking, LeBron spent most of his career telling people he's the GOAT, trying to convince the world of something Larry Bird never had to say out loud. And that's the real difference right there. LeBron's dominance is loud, polished, packaged, and marketed to perfection. Bird's dominance? It was quiet, personal, and absolutely unforgettable. When the true greats talk about fear and respect, one name always rises to the top, and it's not LeBron James. Let's drop the safe talk for a second. Forget the diplomacy. LeBron isn't even close to prime Larry Bird. Not in mentality, not in grit, not in raw basketball IQ. It's that simple. Because when people bring up Bird's greatest moments, they toss around words like clutch, tough, or old school. But those barely touch the surface of what he actually was. Bird didn't just show up for the big moments, he created them from thin air. Case in point, May 22nd, 1988, Game 7, Celtics versus Hawks. This was Larry Bird stepping fully into villain mode, cold, focused, and untouchable. Dominique Wilkins went off that night, dropping 47 points trying to carry Atlanta to the finish line. It was like watching two Titans trade haymakers for 48 straight minutes. But when the fourth quarter hit, Bird snapped. He dropped 20 points in the final 12 minutes. Pure destruction mode. I'm talking mid-range daggers, off-balance floaters, and a cold-blooded three-pointer straight in Dominique Wilkins' face. And guess what? The Celtics pulled it off, 118-116. That Game 7 wasn't just a win, it was a message. That night showed the world what killer instinct really looks like. But if you want to see Larry Bird at GOAT level, you've got to rewind to 1986. Game 6 of the finals against Houston, Boston's last stand of the series. Bird didn't just play, he orchestrated the entire thing like a maestro. He dropped 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists, locking in a triple-double that sealed the championship and earned him ring number 3. The Celtics finished that season with 67 wins, and let's be honest, there's no debate about who made it happen. And then there's the legendary three-point contest trilogy, 1986, 1987, and 1988. Bird didn't just win all three, he owned them. But the legend started long before the first shot. He walked into that locker room, looked around at every other shooter, and said, "All right, which one of you is coming in second?" Pure arrogance, pure confidence, and every word true. Then he backed it up. In the final round, Bird didn't even bother taking off his warm-up jacket. He drilled shot after shot, reached the money ball, released it, and raised his finger in the air before it even dropped. And here's what people don't understand. Bird's greatest moments weren't random bursts of magic. They were patterns. Every elimination game, every do-or-die moment, every time Boston's season hung by a thread, Bird's numbers exploded. Across his playoff career, he averaged 27 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists in elimination games. That's not luck, that's consistency under pressure. Let's rewind to the 1981 NBA Finals. Bird was only in his second season, and the Celtics were down 3-1 to the Sixers in the Eastern Finals. Most teams would have folded, not Bird's Celtics. They clawed their way back, took it to Game 7, won the series, and then went on to beat Houston for the title. During that entire stretch, Bird nearly averaged a triple-double. And if that's not enough, let's talk about one of the coldest flexes in basketball history, 1985 versus the Trailblazers. Larry Bird decided to play the entire game left-handed, just because he felt like it. The result? 47 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists, and a win in overtime. And when a reporter asked him why he did it, Bird smirked and said, "I was saving my right hand for the Lakers." Who does that? That's not just confidence. That's a man playing chess while everyone else was learning checkers. See, every era produces talent, but not every era produces a Larry Bird. When you look back now, those moments are living proof that Bird wasn't just great. He was built different. And when you line up the stats, not the highlight reels or fan edits, but the real numbers, things start to look uncomfortable for LeBron fans. Let's start with the boards. Larry Bird averaged 10 rebounds per game, nearly 3 more than LeBron's career average. And keep this in mind, Bird was doing all of that in an era stacked with monsters. He was grabbing boards and putting up numbers against the likes of Moses Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Robert Parrish, and Charles Barkley. Those weren't just players, those were giants. Now, let's talk precision. Bird was a sniper. He shot 88.6% from the free throw line over his career, while LeBron hovers around 73%. That's a massive gap in reliability when the game's on the line. And then there's the three-point contest. Larry Bird entered it 3 times and won all 3. Meanwhile, LeBron, 2 decades in the league, and not once did he ever step into that arena. Think about that. The most hyped player of an entire generation never once competed to prove he's the best shooter in a league built around shooting. When it comes to efficiency, Bird's numbers are straight up elite. 49.6% from the field, 37.6% from 3, and nearly 90% from the line. That's a borderline 50-40-90 season before that stat even existed. LeBron's averages are great, but Bird's consistency from every range, especially in clutch moments, is what separates him from the rest. And speaking of clutch, Bird's per 36 playoff stats tell the story loud and clear. 24 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. That's balance, IQ, and effort all rolled into one. His production didn't come from inflated possessions or soft defenses. It came from reading the game better than everyone else on the floor. Larry Bird didn't chase triple-doubles. They happened naturally. He finished with 59 career triple-doubles, many of them in elimination or finals games where pressure was suffocating. So sure, LeBron's played longer and stacked up totals, but longevity isn't legacy, because even Michael Jordan himself had to remind everyone who truly stood shoulder to shoulder with greatness, and it wasn't LeBron. Come on, what more proof do you need? Larry Bird never needed clout, PR tricks, or attention-grabbing stunts to stay relevant. He didn't care about likes, endorsements, or flashy headlines. He just showed up every single night, laced up, and let his game speak louder than anything else. That's how legends were made back in the 80s, through grit, not marketing. Now flip the script to LeBron. The man's a generational talent, no doubt. But let's be honest, his career has been just as much about drama as it has been about basketball. Remember 2010, The Decision? That overproduced spectacle that turned free agency into a TV event? Well, fast forward to just recently, he pulled The Decision 2, a flashy Hennessy ad clearly modeled after the old special. Fans called it out immediately, labeling it a cash grab, and truthfully, it looked exactly like that. And then there's the Bronny situation. LeBron's influence practically paved the way for his son's NBA entry. Let's be real, there are countless hungry players out there who've grinded their whole lives, just as talented or even better, but they'll never get that shot. Meanwhile, Bronny's walking into a Lakers jersey before proving anything. That's not merit, that's privilege. And just to make things messier, earlier this year, a well-known social media personality, DJ Academics, claimed that LeBron had been involved in some alleged personal drama outside his marriage with Savannah. None of it's been proven, but the story lit up the internet like wildfire. So here's the real question. With all this chaos swirling around him, the ads, the image, the headlines, the rumors, how's LeBron supposed to stay locked in on the game itself? Meanwhile, Larry Bird had none of that circus. No cameras following him around, no social media hype, no carefully crafted superstar branding. He didn't need a PR team. His work was his reputation. Because here's the truth. Greatness isn't just about rings or stats. It's about integrity, work ethic, and influence that stands the test of time. And Bird checked every one of those boxes, quietly, relentlessly, and without the noise. LeBron, on the other hand, has given us 2 decades of elite basketball tangled up with stunts, sponsorships, social media theatrics, and never-ending drama that always seem to steal the spotlight from the game itself. If you're looking for the purest, rawest form of greatness, Bird wins, no contest. And this is usually where LeBron fans start yelling about longevity. You can already hear it. He's been playing for 20 years and still dominating. Sure, nobody's denying that. But let's be real. Playing a long time doesn't automatically make you feared or respected. It just means you had more seasons to pad stats and chase headlines. True respect doesn't take 2 decades. It hits fast when you're untouchable on the court. Bird didn't need 20 years to build his legacy. He did it in 13, and he did it so well that people are still talking about him nearly 40 years later. And let's not forget the scoring argument. Yes, LeBron's point totals are massive, but context matters. He's playing in an era built for offense, where pace is faster, defense is softer, and three-point attempts are sky high. Isolation plays run the league, and referees practically protect the stars like museum pieces. So, of course, his numbers look huge. They should. The modern game is engineered to inflate stats. If Bird played under today's rules and pace, those scoreboards would have melted. Meanwhile, Larry Bird was putting up numbers in a league where every single point was a war. You got hand-checked, body slammed, and hacked just for stepping into the paint. And there were no soft fouls to bail you out. So let's be honest, if you gave Bird the same 20-year timeline in today's softer, offense-obsessed league, are we really pretending he wouldn't obliterate LeBron's numbers? Come on! Because here's the truth. Greatness isn't about who lasted longer or who stacked the most points. It's about who defined their era, who commanded fear and respect, and who forced their opponents to bow to their presence. Larry Bird did all that in a 13-year sprint of dominance, while LeBron's still grinding through his 20th season, trying to keep the narrative alive. Stats can't capture aura, they can't measure composure, and they definitely can't replicate that fear factor that came with facing Larry Bird. That's Bird territory, where confidence met chaos and every opponent knew they were stepping into a storm. So yeah, LeBron fans will always have their numbers, but when you zoom out and look at the big picture, clutch moments, composure under fire, and era-defining dominance, Bird still stands above them all. Now it's your turn. Who would you rather face on the court? The guy who made everyone fear him, or the one protected by rules, cameras, and corporate polish? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this video with every NBA fan you know. And don't forget to turn on notifications, because we've got plenty more truth bombs coming your way. See you in the next one.